Welcome back, guys, to another video. Morning talk time with your one and only literary pharaoh on my way to my slave job. Modern day wage slaves. That's what we all are, wage slaves. Come to that realization that what you are, and the more you embrace your reality, the quicker you can become a person that's trying to think of solutions to escape your slavery. But if you don't think that you're a slave, you're going to be operating underneath the guise of freedom, but still in reality you are a slave. I guess in that sense ignorance becomes bliss, but ignorance is never bliss. I think that people who love to wallow in their ignorance are people who are afraid of contending with the truth, because when you find out truth, it can be very, very hurtful to find out truth. But even more importantly, how are you going to respond to the truth? It puts a level of accountability upon the possessor of truth. Truth cannot be ignored. You have to respond to it, because in the world we live in, it's riddled with so much falsities that you can always make up whatever you want to make up to remain in your state of comfortability, because being comfortable doesn't challenge you. Being comfortable just means that you're comfortable. It's the foundation of stagnation and retardedness. When you are seeking comfort all the time, you're just slowly training your brain and training your psyche and your mind, which will inevitably be put forth in the actions that you take in life. It'll just cause you to be a person that's just regressing, and you become retarded. All right, you don't grow, nothing happens. So I just thought it was weird. The other day I was looking at my phone, and I didn't know this, but when I say that we are in a death cult, it seems like the universe is just giving me answers randomly just to affirm and confirm everything that I've always said. You say, why do you say we live in a death cult? Because that's exactly what it is. Do you know? I didn't know this. Maybe you knew this, but I didn't know this. I just found this out recently. I didn't know that throughout the year, every month, with the exception of August and December, I believe, every month there's a devotion and a dedication towards a particular type of cancer. Did you know that? Like, there are certain months for cervical cancer awareness month, lung cancer awareness month. Like, there are different months. Like, throughout the year, about 9 or 10 months out of the year, the culture we live in is acknowledging cancer, acknowledging specific types of cancer. And you may say, well, what's wrong with that? Cancer is something that we're all trying to beat. Cancer is not something that we're all trying to beat. Now, maybe you're trying to beat cancer. Maybe in your heart of hearts you want to beat cancer, but the culture does not want cancer to be beat. Cancer is an industry, just like everything else. It's monetized. You say, what do you mean it's monetized? Exactly what I just said. If cancer, there's a cure for cancer, but the cure for cancer, like I was telling my wife the other day, it's not a treatment. Oh, this one size fits all treatment is going to cure cancer. The cure for cancer is in our lifestyle. We have to cure cancer by abolishing the current construct that we're under. The way we govern ourselves currently is what's causing cancer. So in other words, the culture embellishes, espouses, promotes, and advocates cancer, yet at the same time is telling you that it's trying to get rid of cancer. Now, if that's not a deep level of psychosis, I don't know what is. We are living in an insane asylum. In one hand, you have a culture that promotes cancer, embellishes cancer, advocates for cancer. Now, they don't do this overtly. They're not out here saying, yeah, we want y'all to have cancer. They're not doing that. They're doing that in the foods we eat, with the radiation poisoning that we have all around us, because the electromagnetification of the planet. I mean, there's radiation everywhere. You can't escape it. Like I said, it's in the foods we eat. It's in our lifestyle. It's in the alcohol. It's in the cigarettes that we smoke. And the nicotine is not because of nicotine, because nicotine, there's a healthy dosage of nicotine in the foods we eat, in plants, and celery, cabbage, things like that. What's killing us is the pyrazines that they put in the nicotine, and the pyrazine is what makes it addictive. Our bodies have nicotine receptors, so nicotine is not the bad thing. It's the pyrazines that they put inside the nicotine that makes you addicted to the nicotine. Because the overstimulate, like you can't be overly consumed with nicotine. Nicotine in healthy dosages are fine. Just like glucose in the body is fine, but when you have too much glucose, it's not fine. It puts a heavy burden on your pancreas, because now you have to, excrete more insulin to help stabilize your sugar levels. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But the point that I'm making is that every month, the world we live in is acknowledging, like they're bringing awareness to certain types of cancers. Now, you may say, well, that's a good thing because they're bringing awareness to certain types of cancers. Well, yes and no. Yes, in the fact on the surface, it looks good because, we're bringing awareness to something that's killing people. But on the back end of it, beneath the surface, which a lot of you guys don't think beneath the surface, that's why a lot of you guys are easily fooled and manipulated. The system is telling you that, yeah, this is what we're doing to kill y'all. This is our depopulation tactic. The chemical trails that they spray on foods, the pesticides that are sprayed on vegetables, the meats we eat, the sugar and the high sugar intake that we have as a society, the pleasure-seeking society that we have, all of these things are a cancer-causing culture. But yet, they put together an industry to say that we're trying to find a cure for cancer. And even much worse than that is that when you look at the practices that they use to quote-unquote eliminate cancer, they're essentially killing you to kill cancer. You say, what do you mean? Well, when you put you under chemotherapy and all these type of radiation treatments, you do know in them trying to kill the cancer, they're also killing you. They're also killing your good cells. Why do you think people are so weak after chemotherapy? Why do you think people start to lose their hair follicles? They look weaker. Their bones are more brittle. Because the chemotherapy and the radiation that you're receiving to eliminate the cancer is also eliminating the good parts of you as well. There's no differentiation. The treatment doesn't make a distinction of, okay, I'm going to leave the good and just take care of the bad. It wipes you out. It's sort of like, what's the saying? They say, don't something about the baby in the bathwater. Like, if someone has a wound on their leg, you don't amputate their leg. You don't. You just treat the wound. Our medical practices in this world we live in are diabolical, and inevitably, if you just look at it just from a bird's eye view, it's malfeasance. It's all malpractice, but it's done intentionally. It's not like a mistake. Most hospital protocols are not done to cure you. The routine things like checking your blood pressure and all stuff like that, checking your blood, looking at your blood work, that's routine stuff. But I'm talking about when you're like really, really ill with a life-threatening disease. The practices of the hospital are not put there to cure you. Now, some people do come out of the hospital, they are better. They'll say that my cancer is in remission, but if your cancer is in remission, the cancer is never gone. How can something be in remission? That means it's still there. It's just lying dormant. Then it's going to come back again. The culture is cancerous. So you say, why do you say that? Well, I say that because every month is dedicated to a specific cancer. The culture loves cancer because it's giving you the cancer by our lifestyles, by the foods we eat, by the heavy doses of radiation poisoning. High degrees of oxidative stress, all those things are cancer-causing agents. Whenever cells are forced to metastasize and overproduce, they're doing this in a way to protect you because you continue to eat horrible foods, create more parasites in the body. You can give yourself cancer. Cancer is not hereditary. I hear a lot of ignorant black people say that shit. Oh, cancer is in my family. It's in our blood. It's not in your blood, you idiot. it's your lifestyle of your family that's why from generation to generation each generation was getting cancer. It's not because cancer just fell out of the ether. It's not an ethereal concept. It's visceral. You feel it because you're living it. You're eating it. You're eating the cancer. You're exposed to the cancer. You're living it. It takes hard work to get the cancer. You got to work at it. That shit just doesn't just happen. So, yeah, they have. I didn't know that January. I think the months of August and December, I believe, are the 2 months that they don't specifically target a particular cancer. But I know in the other months they have like this type of cancer, all the other months. I just think it's amazing that, and we sit here and we clap our hands like, oh, cancer awareness, cure cancer. We can't let cancer beat us. The world, the country, America is cancerous. It's already beat y'all. We're just trying to, well, personally, let me speak for myself. I'm just trying to navigate the landmines. Every time I go into a grocery store, it's a life and death decision. There are things in that grocery store that are made to kill you, and there are things that are made to give you more life. And as long as I'm alive, I'm going to continue to operate on the things that give me life. I'm not seeking pleasure. I'm seeking longevity. I'm seeking happiness, which is much different from seeking pleasure. People who seek pleasure go for the junk shit, the stuff that just gives them momentary pleasure for that time. But they don't know that there's a cost for seeking pleasure. When you're overly consumed with that endeavor, sadness usually is the outcome. Sadness is usually the aftermath of that. You can't cheat happiness to seek pleasure. Pleasure is the mistress. Happiness is your wife. You can't cheat on your wife, buddy. And I use that analogy to give you guys some sort of innuendo to what I'm talking about. You can't escape the pathway of happiness by trying to seek it through pleasure. Pleasure is the antithesis of happiness. But yeah, this is a cancerous culture. The culture is cancerous. I just think there's nothing that's more telling, and it's truly indicative of what kind of environment we live in. The fact that you have months that are geared to bring awareness to something that causes death, and yet we clap. You guys don't see. Hey, is it just me? Am I overthinking this? Leave a comment. Tell me, am I really overthinking this? Because I'm looking at that. Okay, cancer causes death, but yet we have months that are geared to bringing out particular cancers, like making people aware of them. Why will I want to bring awareness to something that's killing me? Do we have, when serial killers go around killing people? All right, let's keep it on the same frequency here, because cancer causes death and serial killers cause death as well, because they're serial killers. They kill multiple people. So let's keep it on the same frequency. See, can we make sense out of this? Do we have months dedicated to particular serial killers? Oh, this month is this person. This month is this person. You would think that the world, you would think that the society that you live in are crazy for embracing serial killers, using months to embrace different serial killers. Well, that's the way I look at cancer. I personify cancer. But not only do I personify cancer and give it its human traits and human qualities and give it some type of anthropogenic aura, I'm also personifying the system that controls the mechanisms within our ecosystem that proliferates cancer. I'm personifying all of it. Just like a serial killer is a person, I look at cancer as a person. It's going around killing people, but yet we have months dedicated to particular types of cancer underneath the guise of bringing more awareness to it. But how does bringing awareness to a serial killer, because cancer is a serial killer, it kills many people, how can bringing awareness to a serial killer cure the dis-ease and the cause of the killer killing in the first place? Nothing. There's no solution in that in that venture. It doesn't even make sense. It's completely illogical. But yet we as Americans, we look at that shit and we think that that's normal because that's just the way it's always been. But I want to just challenge you guys to kind of think a little bit. I'm not even asking you to think outside the box. I want you to think in the box. I'm staying in the box. This is not me thinking outside the box at all. Stay within the box and look at what they're giving you. They're essentially telling you to be aware of these certain cancers every month, with the exception of August and December. Are we celebrating death? Then why are we acknowledging it? You acknowledge what you celebrate. For instance, children love to have their birthdays. We acknowledge their birthdays because it comes on a specific day on a specific month. Because it's something that we want to acknowledge. Why are we as a society acknowledging and celebrating cancer? Now, to you, many of you who are ignorant may think that we're not celebrating it, but yes, you are, because you're acknowledging it. When you acknowledge something that's negative, when you acknowledge something that takes life, and you memorialize a particular month to give attention to that killer, you're giving respect to the killer. You're paying homage to the killer. It's a form of worship. Can't we see that? That we are in a death cult? Even the religions, and I hate to even go off on a tangent here, but even on the religions that you guys espouse and advocate for, the Christian religion that's the biggest religion in the world, it's centered around death. A God kills his son. It's only through death that you can have life. Shedding of blood, sacrificing a child, everything's about death. Killing an animal, killing this, killing that. The disciples, death. Peter hung upside down, crucifixion. Blood, shedding of blood, cleanses sin, blood. We are inundated with death. And we're so desensitized to it that to hear somebody like me talking about it this way, it's like, you're going to look at me like I'm the one that's crazy. But on the contrary, sir, I'm looking at you like you're crazy. There's no such thing as physical death apart from spiritual death. If you embrace physical death, then you embrace spiritual death. You say, how? I thought they were two separate things. They're not separate things. Because as so above, so below. As so inside, so without. As within, without. What I'm saying is this. Many of the things that manifest themselves out in the physical realm, meaning that this third dimensional reality that we live in, many of the things that we can see, whether it's through the abstract or through conceptualization, through imagination, those things are happening because of what's going on within, inner space. So when you are a person that lives in a culture that embraces death, it just means that you're also dead spiritually, because how you embrace your life in the third dimensional realm is indicative of what's going on within you. Let me say that again. If you're full of life and you show that in your lifestyle, whether it's to how you eat, the exercising, being cautious, meditating, you're doing things outwardly, right, to make sure that you keep yourself alive. It means that you're alive spiritually, because before you can act out in the physical, the seed has to be planted in the spiritual realm. So you can't embrace death on the outside and think that you have true spirituality. That's not spirituality. It's a conundrum. It's a paradox. It's disjointed. You can't have both. Both spirit and physical are one. Before we were all created, it took a spiritual act that manifested itself in a physical act to produce us. You say, well, what do you mean, literary pharaoh, or spiritual act? Well, do you know that having sex is spiritual? Is part of the feminine, is on the feminine side of the frequency chain. You have masculine frequency, masculine energy. You have feminine energy and feminine frequency. Do you know that meditating is feminine? It's feminine energy. Do you know that making love to your wife, or if you're a woman making love to your husband, do you know that that's also feminine energy? Frequencies. Those are spiritual things. Even before you decide to lay with somebody, there are thoughts that are going through your head that cannot be, conceived in the abstract. It's all conceptual. It's concepts. You're imagining. There's a deep connection you have with this person. You're vibing with this person. So the only way to have the full manifestation of that vibration, because you guys are vibrating on the same frequency, the only way to bring something forth that maximizes that vibration is to actually make that vibration come to fruition in the physical realm through sexual intercourse. But through sexual intercourse, something else happens. Conception of life. The inception of life begins. Then you have a seed that comes forth out of that act. But before the act came, it took spiritual things to happen in the mind and the soul of each individual before each individual came together as one. So spirit and physical are one. Emotions are not physical. Emotions are spiritual. There's energy in emotion. You just don't see it. So if you have a deep hatred towards somebody, you're not going to be laying with that person because you hate that person. So your spiritual status is a hindrance to coming together. Just as well as if you have deep love and passion for somebody, that will not be a hindrance. That would be a motivating factor, an influential agent to push you closer to the other person that you love or that you are in love with. You guys come together as one, and then life is produced from that union. But it all started spiritually. It started internally, inner space. The symptoms of what's going on internally is the sex, is the coming together. So don't embrace a death culture and then think that you're spiritual. That's backward. That's a backwards ass mentality. You can't do that. You can't do that. So I'm gonna leave it there, folks. That's my morning talk time with you guys. I did do my yoga this morning. Felt good. And that's just something I do. I had something in my mind that I wanted to say, but I slipped my mind. I forgot. It'll come back to me. But anyway, if whatever I was thinking about comes back to me, I'll upload another video and say it. It was something very important, but I just can't think of it right now. All right, guys, take care of yourself. And remember, what do I always say before I end the video? Your what is your what? Your health is your wealth. Don't chase money. Don't chase riches. All right? Take care of your temple. What's your temple? Your temple is your body. It's the only one body that you have. And you're doing your creator a disservice if you treat your body like shit. All right? All right, take care of yourself, guys. Till next time. Peace.